right side of 13.
Oh,
don't they?
absolutely.
They hit sucker with that big branch that just
Yeah, you hit a pretty good shot, and all of a sudden you got.
boom. Why is that
Branch.
going in the? Why is that going in the lake?
No, you hit a great drive, and all of a sudden you look up and you got to go.
Well, I'd forgotten there was actually 2 trees there.
There's a few trees though. That
Well, there's a lot more.
you don't want to take out too many.
What?
We're headed down the path of taking out too many right now.
No, they're not.
You don't want to make a link style course. It's already short enough.
Yeah, I think there's some trees that'll get better because the grass will get better.
Yeah. I don't know. Got to have some obstacles.
You know, it's like when they had
I
that
do.
storm.
It's up right up here.
Yeah, we had.
Well, you could pump up the left side of the 18th green and not hurt anybody's feelings.
Yeah.
I'd still like to see the big tree and the right of 6 fairway to go. One in the fairway, basically.
Well, you know, when that was
A little fade
on,
right
at the top or
I
the
don't
one
hit a
on
fade.
the.
I hit a draw, and it's just right in the
Well, you
way.
Are you talking about for the second one? The one
Either one. You hit a drive, you're right behind
when
the
they
tree.
when they trimmed it up, you know, it needs to be trimmed up again because when they trimmed it up the first time, that made a huge difference
Oh,
because
yeah.
you could
Go under.
hit it. Now
Just aim for it. Never hit it.
I aimed at it and I hit it.
It's the only thing I can aim at and hit, and I hit it every time.
There used to be from the blue tees back in the sixth. There used to be a tree on the left-hand side because I always tried to hit a fade.
Yeah.
I bet I hit one summer. I bet I hit that son of a bitch 50 times.
I don't miss the blue tees.
I figured we'd have standing room only today. You know.
Mike, you going to spring training?
Yeah, I think so.
When you going? February?
I don't know. We first week in
Full
March.
right now again.
First week of
We,
March?
yeah, we usually like to
I
go
don't do
towards
much
the
over.
end.
I don't really do any. I got one day over Christmas. Go to Park Hills, but other than that,
You're
that's
not doing any of the tournaments down in the city or anything?
No, years ago I used to, and then it just takes up your.
Whole weekend.
Well, it's just a whole. I mean, it's not a whole day, but you know, you.
Oh, I guess.
You drive there, you get there early, then the game's running behind.
I guess a week after next.
we
you
are.
start- After,
We
like
are.
after the first, you start
Yeah,
balls to the wall.
third, fourth, fifth, somewhere in there.
I didn't realize they'd passed that.
Looking
new
forward
rule
to the
this year,
rain.
where So many people are
Yeah,
playing.
Christmas
More
is over.
tournaments.
and
Sad
we
when you
got
say you're
not
looking forward to
scheduled
rain, but I'm
games
tired of the snow.
Wash some of that
Some of 'em
stuff
you
off.
Yep.
Like
Two
16
boring-
games. that-
Two boring months of winter left.
What is it? You
I
can
know.
play unlimited tournaments.
Yeah, I don't know what it. I knew they changed it because
Oh,
somebody
getting
told
a
me
little
Forge
used
went
to
and
the
played in
cold weather.
some tournament, and I'm like, well, I wonder what tournament they got out of.
They didn't.
That's what I mean. I knew they wouldn't get out of, you know,
there
they
is
wouldn't get
such
out of Washington.
And
They
they played down in St. Charles.
they won that one.
Yeah, and
Easy
I
for
think
me
they
to
got
say,
one
I'm
more
inside
than
all the
Louisiana.
Oh, my.
Well, if you did it right, and especially somebody
Well,
that's.
now too, in the old days when if you didn't win, you only
Okay.
two games. Now they play 3, so you know you're going to get 3.
We have no white light. I don't know if the light lit or not. I think it did.
Yeah, you talk about it. That 7th place game they play, you talk about it.
Some bad teams, and the girls are even worse.
There's only one team that in the whole tournament's gonna like that because somebody's coming.
There we go.
Go.
There you
Yeah, but the coach has a way of getting some practice out of it.
Good. Oh, I guess. I don't know. It's just, that is crap. Basketball at times.
Oh my God! I went to the Missouri game. so
Okay.
I don't know what the foul is.
Call this meeting of the City of Washington Board of Public Works, Tuesday, December 27, 7:30 a.m. Roll call, please.
John Dietmeier.
Here.
Brad Mitchell.
Here.
Mike Radetech.
Here,
Steve Richardson.
Here.
Mike Coulter.
Here.
Dwayne Reed. Steve Struber.
Stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning, all. First order of business is the approval of the minutes. Does everybody have a chance to review those?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Minutes approved. Thank you very much. All right. Our favorite part, approving bills.
Yeah.
wastewater, we've got a bill for,
Well, actually, this is a proposal
proposal this time, okay.
and a request to approve to move forward with. What we call our West Fifth Street lift station. It's the one that's out across the street from West Fifth Street Elementary, hence the name West Fifth Street Lift Station, makes it easy to find. We have a complete failure of that station. It just decided to basically blow up the pumps and the wiring, everything. It's completely failed. So we have to replace it. Right now, we have a bypass pump system set out there, which has been giving us a lot of fun in the cold weather. So I went out for bids. Got a bid from the pump shop and a bid from Vandeventer. Vandeventer's price is higher because they chose to put in replacing all of the check valves and everything with that. I contacted them, told them we wasn't gonna do that, and they kind of said, well, we're just gonna go ahead and go with what we've got. Basically, another case of them being so busy and everybody else. Pump shop hasn't been with us for a while. They've done some work with us before, but they came in with the other bid. The only two bids we've got, so we'll have to go with the pump shop. Going with the pump shop does give us a little bit of a lead way because right now we have one pump in there that we got rebuilt. It's a Barnes pump, and we got it rebuilt, and we tried to use that rather than bypass, but when we hooked it all up, it finally took out the rest of the control panel. It's just because of age. It's just old, antiquated stuff, and
So
it was
how
just a
long
matter
will
of time.
How long will this theoretically last us?
This one here will 20 years.
Okay.
It's just, this one here, it's a small station. It picks up West Fifth Street School, bars, our bars and furniture, and carry 5 houses, about 5 houses up on Fifth Street. But it is something we need to keep running. There's no way to convert that to gravity, so it's gonna be with us forever, so.
What did Vandeventer's bid include that theirs did not?
A whole new vaulting system, which is 2 check valves, 2 valves, basically,
Is there any way to know the expected life of what we have?
yeah, the expected life of what we have now, it should last just about as long as the system. That's not what wears out so bad. It's the electrical and the pumping system itself is what wears out.
So what we're not replacing is still got another 20 years of
Yeah,
life in it,
yeah,
I think?
yeah. Yeah, because we can rebuild the valves and stuff. We can take, there's really just a flap and a seal that you got in there that you got to work with, so.
That's a $50,000
Difference?
Well, it was the vault that had to come along with it, because it had to have, basically, it has to have a new vault to put new stuff in it, because it's a lot bigger than the old stuff. So it changed, it basically took the whole station and almost redesigned the whole station to do that.
Okay, so it was more than just
So
equipment.
with the way things are going right now, I felt it wasn't prudent for us to do a complete rebuild and spend that much money when we can still work with what we've got and get it back up online, so.
But that's a potential rebuild that will happen.
At some point in time, yes, there could be that could happen. As long as we can still get the parts we need for everything we've got in there, we're fine, so.
I move we accept the bid.
Second.
That is what you want to go with, isn't it?
Yes, the pump shop, yes.
Any other comments or questions? We got a move to accept the bid, and all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We accept the bid for the pump shop.
And just so you guys know, this is not my normal practice. Normally, I would go through and replace everything, but we've got other stuff we gotta look at
Got
spending the
other
money
fish
on.
to
so-
fry?
Yeah, so that's the reason for that, so.
Yes, we do have other fish to fry from the looks of things. Okay, what about this cogent pay request that looks like?
This one here is a finalization of the West End lift station. It's really not a finalization, but this was the SCADA programming that was not part of the actual construction of the West End lift station. They actually forgot to bill us for this way back when, so they were cleaning up their paperwork and came across this. So this is something, when I say programming for the SCADA system, we're bringing all of our lift stations that we can into the SCADA system that we can look at on our phones and on our iPads and our laptops to know what's running, what's not running, what pumps are going on, all this other stuff. So that's what that took, was actually adding features into the SCADA system that wasn't there currently, and then adding the stuff into doing the wiring in the station to bring it into the SCADA system.
Let me ask you a question. When somebody goes back, like you said, they find this, do they do it at the new accounting bids, or do they do it at what, for instance, if it's, say, 6 months old, and they finally come across this, is it usually at those prices that were 6 months ago, or the prices as of today?
The prices that were 6 months ago.
Okay.
So they can't raise the price once they propose it and do the work. They can't come back and say, oh, well, you know, we forgot about this and we're cleaning up our books, and by the way, if we need to raise it by 50%.
So basically, everything we've got is a contractual
Yeah.
process then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
This was all in the base bid, I guess.
Well, this wasn't in the base bid, but it was part of the original project that they did. And they just, because this wasn't part of the base bid, it was a separate invoice that should have went out. And when they invoiced it, they didn't add that invoice to it to finish it, so.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor, aye. Opposed? Approved, send it on to the council. Thank you very much. Now, we got our camera truck trailer
Yes.
stuff. Wow.
Jeez.
And I wish I can get, well, I will get at some point in time, a video for you guys to see while it's in operation. It's really nice. It's really nice.
It's impressive, I've seen it. It's really cool.
This is the one, we had this actually budgeted. This is the equipment that gives us now the ability to get into a 6-inch line and do lateral launching like we used to be able to do with our 8-inch lines. And we just used it right over on, well, we used it on Elm Street at the Dutch. That's where Mike was at and witnessed it. We used it over on Fifth Street by at 628 West Fifth Street. We was able to, the new camera has what they call a pan and tilt head on it for the lateral launch. So we was actually able to get into the service lateral. When we got to where the problem was, we was able to actually pan and tilt the push camera head and actually see what the problem was, where before we just come and say, well, you got a hole in your line. Don't know what the problem is. We was able to actually look in, and we saw some stuff that we think caused the problem, but it's just our opinion, so it doesn't really matter. But at least the property owner now can, when they start digging, they know what they have to work with when they start digging. This happens to be what looks like 2 pieces of telecommunications conduit. That's about all we can tell. But at least that way, when the property owner or whoever does the work for them starts digging, they know that there's something there they got to watch out for. So it's really a benefit. It's also going to be used for when we go out and do the inspections for our cost-sharing program that we have through engineering. We can now go out and get into the service lateral and verify what the people are saying is wrong, and also be able to see if we have any what we call illegal connections in the service lateral after the house. We'll be able to actually see what's there, and if it's connected by turning the camera and looking into whatever's connected. And we've seen it before. We've seen some lines coming in. It's like, well, yeah, there's something here coming in, but you don't know if they're capped off or if they're, in service. This way we'll be able to actually look and see if they're in service or if they're, functional or whatever, so.
Out of curiosity, what would be attached to somebody's lateral?
Most of the time, it's downspouts,
Oh, yeah.
which is an I&I issue, which then creates, our pumps, if it's in this area, it generates more flow into West End and more flow into Walnut Street, which is more pumping energy, everything just ties together, then more down at the treatment plant, which is, cost of operation and everything, so it just helps out.
You only see that on older sections, I would hope.
Yeah, I don't think we've really seen anything on the newer part. Most of it is, I hate to say it, but it's just the way it is from, I'd say probably, I use Fifth Street as a breaking point because that's where we notice most of the issues at, down to Front Street, our same area that we have the things. But if you drive around town, you look at some of the older homes, you got downspouts that go down into the ground and they don't come out anywhere.
You know where they're going.
You know, it's, I mean, so that's what this does. It's a great investment for the city to have this,
Yeah.
to be able to actually get into a 6-inch line, which we have a ton of 6-inch lines that we have never been able to get into and actually look at a service lateral, so. It helps the city and it helps the residents, and that's one of our jobs too, is to provide the best service we can to the residents, you know, so.
Right.
But, so this is just paying for it. And it's actually, the original bid for this came in with a new controller that they thought we would need to make this new pan and tilt work, but we was able to actually get it to work with the controller we've got, so we was able to save just a hair under $10,000 on this by utilizing what we already had and being able to make it work, so.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Approved. Thank you. Anything else on wastewater, Kevin?
No, I don't think so. Everything else is going pretty good as we sit here and speak, but yeah.
on wood,
Won't know
yeah.
in an hour, things could change, so.
That's right. Well, water, a good sign is it's talking about supplies and not a,
Yeah, I actually, I decided that, maybe it's, you guys let me know if you want to keep on seeing it, but I just figured, you know, I'm thinking to start adding some of this stuff when we have to go out for supplies, what it's costing us, and, you know, and because generally we would just order them and put them on the shelf and just, you know, go through it, but I think it'd be good for you guys to start seeing what we're ordering, when we have to order it, and things like that, and just the cost, so this is really just a
this is an FYI.
complete FYI discussion, information. So it'll probably drop down to somewhere down, you know, like under information. I may put it under there down the road, just as an information on what we're purchasing as far as supplies to keep the system running.
And this is not necessarily regular or monthly or quarterly. It
It's
happens when you need the supplies.
Yeah. We usually wait, and we're starting to change that by the nature of delivery and availability. We're starting to change some of it. We're kind of now moving into when we use a part, we're gonna order a part. Because what we used to do is just like we did here, we'd wait and then go out and do a big mass order, so and we get everybody involved in it. And now we're noticing that when we make a big mass order, we may get 5 of the things we ordered, and then 7 of them are back order, and we just sit and wait for them to come in. So we don't want to get ourselves into a situation where we're stuck without a part because we waited too long. So now we've moved into so you won't see a lot of the big ones anymore, but we're into if we use a 6-inch valve, we got to turn around and order a 6-inch valve to restock that, because valves can take anywhere from 2 to 10 weeks. You just don't know. Yeah, we just don't know. So, you know, we're in that return order as soon as we use type of plan now.
Kevin, when you do something like a single valve or something, you don't put that out for bids, do you?
It depends on if we need it right away or if we don't. With a valve, with the cost of a valve, you know, I always like to try and, you know, get the best I can, because you're looking at $600, $700, $800, $1,200, depending on what valve you're getting. So, yeah, we could just go to, you know, now if we need one in an emergency, we'll run over to Bamer Brothers. We'll call them and say, hey, do you have one? Because it's just over in Forestel. We can get there fast. We can get them and waiting and trying to send out for bids and seeing if IMCO, that's down off of Baumgartner in South County, or, you know, Schulte's, that's over the main ones in Illinois, that usually they keep all their main stuff, you know, if in a crunch. But if we're just ordering it, I'll still go out and see if we can make sure we're still getting the best value that we can. You know, I feel that's one of my jobs, is to spend the money of the city's money as wisely as I can. And if we're not in an emergency, I don't see any sense in just going over to Bamer Brothers because they're quick. You know,
Gotcha.
I mean, it's just my opinion. I'll do it anybody wants me to.
No,
It's just
sounds reasonable.
And I mean, I get the idea of use it, order a new one, use it, order a new one. Is there any benefit, or would there be a benefit to ordering 20 instead of 10, or instead of 1 at a time and get some?
Well, there's always that benefit, but with the cost of them now, you know, we used to have anywhere from, you know, we'd have 4 2-inch valves sitting on the shelf. We'd have 4 or 5, sometimes 6-inch valves, a couple 8-inch valves. We'd have some 12-inch valves. But because of the cost of them now, when I say the cost, the last time we ordered 12-inch valves, which was, we had ordered them for, Pottery Road. And then when I turned around to order them for, I think it was, South Point Road, the 12-inch valves had gone up over 200% in cost. Wow. So anymore, I mean, it's just, I just don't think it's, but I know what you're saying, and yes,
if we use 10 a year, let's order 10 January 1 and not 10 throughout the year.
Yeah,
Save.
yeah.
We
And,
save-
and
we
that,
save
and that's
it.
the thing with us.
And I don't know.
Yeah.
this.
Because you could, well, you do put them out for bid though, too, anyway, don't you?
Well, we do, but if we've got a project, let's just say like I know we're gonna be probably working on a water line somewhere, replacing it. We'll go out and we'll make sure we've got all that together and bid. But most time what we're finding here lately is we may have one valve go out in a year that we just need to cut in a new one. What we have more is we have people calling us, hey, do you have this? Hey, do you have that? And we used to be kind of a supply house for people, but we too are having the same problem getting material and getting that stuff, so.
Do we have a way of maybe, on this, I hope this wouldn't take a lot of time, but going back and doing a review on some of these higher-end things and say, okay, in the last 5 years, we've used X.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
You
we
know,
can,
and
yeah,
then-
we can.
And then just saying, we know we're gonna use
Well, we keep.
15 of these valves.
We do an inventory every year, so we have our history of inventory. We could look back and say, okay, in the last 5 years, how many 6-inch valves have we used, or, because when we say use, it's usually by purchase.
Right.
If we use them, we get them. So we have an inventory of everything we have, and we do that every year.
So if we had some high-end things that we know we're going to use, then it would seem to make sense that you would bid those out and see what we could do, because before you get caught in a crunch.
All of our meter stuff, we buy as much as we can when we can get it. That's another thing that they're hard to get, all that stuff. We usually stock probably 40 feet, 50 feet of 6-inch, maybe 40 feet of 8-inch. I don't know how much 12-inch we've got. We don't keep too much of that, because on pipe sizes, you don't want to have that sitting in the sun too much, because it will break down and then deteriorate, so you don't want to keep too much of that in stock. But our valves, we've been cutting our stock on our valves back. We usually try to keep, 2 valves of everything? I think so. So the point is, if we have 2 and we use 1, we want to get back, at least back to that 2 for right now.
Right.
So that's kind of how we're playing our inventory now, just to make sure we've got them when we need them, That's. But yeah, I would love to be back to 4 years ago when I knew I could just do a bulk of everything we needed and come in and actually not cringe and have the pain of the price when it comes in, but we're not in that anymore, so we too have to juggle and try to do what we can with the supplies.
Supplies seem to be getting better.
No.
Okay.
No, they're not. They're, just about everything we order, we're lucky to get anybody that says, we've got everything that you need. We've got some bidders that, if we do what we call an MJ or a cast bid, which is your valves, your gate valves, your T's, your 90s, and all of that, and we put stainless in with it, which is our repair sleeves that we have to keep, and those we keep a good hand in stock. They're expensive too. But that bidder won't even bid the complete bid, because he can't compete with the stainless. So we're running into that too. So now we have to almost break the bids out into 2 pieces so that we make it fair for everybody that could bid. Because that's the other thing too, we want to try and be as fair as we can to the suppliers too. So we've gone to that now, where we break out our mechanical fittings to our stainless repair fittings because of that. So, wow. Yeah, before it was you just send it out to everybody and everybody was bidding on them. Now you're getting, we're not gonna bid on it because we can't compete. They know they can't, and they just don't bid on any of it then.
Wow.
And Bamer Brothers is usually one of our lowest bidders when we go out to get the mechanical joint stuff. So we want them there because they do help out, but we don't, so it's just I say it's a game. It's how we play it. It's just, you just gotta learn how to shift and keep on moving, and it just
Get what you need when you.
can't stay in the way it was, that's for sure,
I'm
because,
gonna assume this is probably not, but are there ever conversations with, let's say, the water district and, you know, maybe even another municipality that
Do a co-op?
we do, yeah, let's do a, you know, we know we're gonna need so many feet of such and such, or we know we're gonna, let's try to be a win-win for everybody here and get the best bang for all our buck, and maybe even become priority with a
Or is it
larger
even
order.
legal?
well, yeah, I don't know about that, but we have never done the big bulk across the board, hey, we're going out for this, what are you guys going for? Could it be done? But everybody's plans are so different on how what we're gonna be doing. But what we do is we all help each other out. So let's just say if Union needed something and they call us, say, hey, do you have this? Yeah, if we have it, yeah, we can use it. We call them, and we do that with a lot of the local contractors too. You know, if they need something from us and we have an extra one, we'll let them use it, they reorder it, get it back to us. But and just in the same token, if we need something and I call one of them and they have it, they say, yeah, you can use it.
But I think back to,
But what, I understand what you're saying, but it's never happened since I've been here. Could it happen? It probably could.
would it
It
be
would just
worth
take a
a
lot of
discussion?
planning.
I mean, if you know, if just using something like this, if everybody came in and said,
I'm not really saying, you know, coordinate necessarily your projects, but obviously they probably have a project list for the upcoming
Yeah,
year, and you have a project list, and all of a sudden we look, well, I'll be darned, everybody's gonna be using,
or you go in here and there's certain items that, you know, that are big items that are getting a lot of use, that you might
could-
be able to, as a co-op, to say, hey, we'll have a central feed, and you're still gonna pay the price, but if you walk in and say, we're gonna get 60 of these valves instead of 10 of these valves,
Well, the volume bidding, if you could do it that way, would help out in pricing too, because the more you order, you know, you do get a little bit a better deal.
again, it was just a thought. And I don't-
But that's something good to think about, though.
Ever been a
yeah.
conversation
I mean, I know the Public Works Director in New Haven, I know the person that runs Union.
I mean, you're working
And
with
the
this
district, the
10 mile,
district's a
right?
little different because that's Alliance and they're for profit, so they're a little different than what we are. But I could open up conversations with New Haven and Union and just kind of see, you know, I mean, I would probably John would have to be involved in it because he is my boss, and I'm sure probably we'd have to talk to legal about it just to make sure that's something that could be done. I'm not sure, you know, but good idea though. I mean, it is a good idea with the way the times are now, yeah. It may not be a bad idea to do that, so. I'll check into it. Just a couple phone calls,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Never know.
Never know. Never thought of that, good idea.
I'd say, hell no.
Any more discussion on the supply list? No? Any other old business going on, Kevin? Everything's functioning out at the plant?
Yeah, of the plant, as far as functioning going, yeah, it's good. We got our new set of lamps in. They're not in because we don't put them in now, but we got them all in-house and in the carriers.
Okay.
So they're ready to go. Still got our same low readings. As I get them, I'm always a month behind, and I'm gonna wait. You know, I brought that one, you know, report to you guys. I'm gonna wait, give it a few months, and then bring it in again, because every month it's just gonna get boring because the numbers really aren't changing a lot. So I think I'm just gonna wait, and then we'll go through the winter and see how the winter does, and then we'll have a full summer, kind of do that winter, summer, spring, fall thing, just to see what the differences are on it. So, but.
I do have a question, just because it had been brought to my attention, no names or addresses involved, but what can the city do or not do if, let's say I own a property, I have a tenant that's not paying, water gets shut off, I as a landlord am fine with the water being shut off, but the tenant has the capability and goes back to the curb stop and turns the water on.
Yeah, we're dealing with one of them right now.
Probably the same.
we go back and we shut it off. This particular property owner put cameras on his house, which I think cameras are a great idea. My house is ringed with cameras. It's not that I don't trust people, I just like to know what happens. Anyway, so that seemed to kind of eliminate the problem that was going on. We do have the ability to try to bring litigation against them. That in itself becomes a really big problem. So what we try to do is we try to come up with a way to ward off the ability for them to be able to
I
do
was
that.
gonna say, my question is there a way to, lack of a better term, lock or disable the ability for that thing to turn?
Our rental, our apartment complexes, yes, we can lock out the valves that's in front of the meter. Residential homes, because our valves are down in a hole in a curb stop, there's not a lot out there that gives us the ability to lock those out, because it's just a nut, and there's a certain tool that if anybody's a mechanic knows what size tool that is to get on, and I'm not gonna say what it is, but to open that up. And then our local supply stores sell the curb stop wrench for plumbers that anybody can go buy at the local hard lumber, or the plumbing supplies, so. So, yeah, they make things, they make a plug that you can put down into the curb stop, and then you got this long wrench, and you stick it down in and you tighten it up, and you pull the wrench out. The problem with that is, and we've never done it because I've read and heard about all the horror stories that happen, is that if you do that with them, all they have to do is take a rod and they can jam it down all the way down in, and then you can't either get it turned back on, or you can't turn it off, or whatever that may be. And if they do that to us, then we have to dig up the curb stop, because now we are responsible for the curb stop, so it's,
So there's nothing like a tire, like, you get a parking ticket and they put one of those boots on.
Yeah.
There's nothing like.
Yeah, no.
The curb stops belong to us, right?
Yes, they do.
Can't you arrest them for trespassing then, for messing?
Well, like I said, there's things that you can do. A lot of it then plays into, do you have evidence that they did it? I mean, so it's we try to just make it as inconvenient as we can, is what we try to do. So we do have the nice new meters. We have some of those. So if the owner of a piece of rental property would like to, absorb the cost of that, or actually, I kind of, anyway, we have the electronic ones that we have the ability to put in and turn it off electronically. We have 2 of them out in the system right now. One of them we put into a business that we've never been able to find a curb stop. Nobody even knows where it's at. Even the people that built the development have no clue where the curb stop's at. I don't even know if it even has one, to be honest with you. I think it's, anyway, because that has happened before. So we put one of those in there, and the person was notorious for the group was notorious for not paying their payment. But when we put that in there and we shut them off, I shut them off, because that's my job. I turned them off. It's amazing how now they pay their bill.
So with an electronic
So-
meter, regardless of what's happening at the curb stop,
Would help that problem, yes. Because the electronic one, if we turn it off and they mess with it, it stays off. They cannot turn it back on.
So it's kinda like
They
in
can
the
cut the
car.
wire, they can do whatever they want and think they're gonna, there's nothing,
It's kind of like when the check engine light comes on, unless somebody goes in and puts the thing in and recodes it,
Yeah.
it's not going off.
and the good thing about these new electronic meters are they could pull the meter out, and because we've had this too, they've pulled the meters out and put straight pipes in them. But this one, all of our new meters, if somebody pulls the meter out, it throws us out an alarm that says empty pipe, so we know that there's no water in the meter. And this one here actually throws out an empty pipe, meter tampered with, all kinds of stuff, so.
what's the cost if somebody wanted to put in an electronic?
They cost $420.
It's not bad.
It's not
So.
bad.
Is that the material and the labor to put it in, or do you?
It's just a material. We've never charged labor to do anything with the
cheap then.
meter. Yeah. If that's what they want to do, yes. We have to have an appointment. We have to get in when the person's not there. There's a little process we have to go through.
Brad would like to schedule his appointment right now.
For the record, it's not me.
Yeah, the guy putting it in says, let me show you how this works. It's the wrong guy.
But anyway, so we do have that ability too, so.
So, on the same, not the same subject, but the same process on paying bills, some time back, we started working with the customers and, you know, getting them on the electronic payments and so on and so forth. I mean, we don't hear anything about that anymore. To-
Yeah,
to eliminate shut-off, so is that, everything's, I guess we still have shut-off.
Yeah, we have about 80 a month now, compared to what we used to have, 400, 500, 600. you
Holy
know.
cow.
Yeah, so it's gotten a lot better. We still have what we call them our frequent flyers, you know, the same ones every time. It's like, okay, well, you know where that's at, you know, but there's no reason of why they don't, because it's kind of funny. We turn them off, and then they come in and they pay the current, the pass up to current and the on-off fee. It's like, well, but your bill's only $34 a month. Why don't you pay? Yeah, but anyway, that's psychology, and I'm not a major on that, so I have a hard time figuring my own self out. But anyway, that's what we see, and it's gotten a lot better. And we're always going to have
This is
that. It's
this
just the way
a
it is. So.
Silly question, maybe, the ones that are frequent flyers, and I don't know what frequent means, if that's whatever
Every month.
duration that is. Obviously, it costs us money when we send somebody out there to turn that off, and then they come in and pay it, and we send them back out to turn it on. Would it not be, at some point, we should just put the electronic meter in and you shut it off from sitting at your desk, and we don't spend the manpower going back and forth all the time.
You're right.
We did increase the turn-on fee, I think to $50 or
50.
so.
We went from 25 to 50.
Yeah, so we doubled it to really take advantage of that a little bit too, because we were realizing that our man hours and things wasn't making any sense. So we did double that as a way to offset that. Now, does that take all the cost into it? No, it does not.
I would strongly consider putting in an electronic meter on people that you are frequently, especially if
And we can do that.
people on a monthly basis.
As long as we can get an appointment with them. I mean, a lot of them are actually homeowners that own their own home. And,
Off to this month, you gotta get it.
well, we have a code that says we can do that, so.
I'm just curious, I mean, again, it seems to me that over time, if you go back to the same
It'd
spot.
save you money, I
Over
would think.
in time, because those individuals could be doing something else, I would assume that'd be more.
But I do have to say, it's a lot quicker to get them off and on, because we've been there so much. The valve works really good, and everything is just really easy to work.
Right where it is.
So the time-wise, it's really not hard. It's like, you know, it's more you're just driving there, get out, wrench out, you're there for like maybe a minute and a half. I mean, so.
I mean, it just gets to a point, whether
But you are right.
whether
Is it-
it's work
would-
or your personal.
Ideally, I would love to have enough of those meters to be able to do all of that, but right now, the meters are limited. It's like everything else. We only have a certain amount, so I keep them for the really, really bad ones. You know, the units where there's only one curb stop and you have an A and a B, and A pays really well and B doesn't, because they know that they can't be shut off because they know the situation of the house. Those are the kind that I really have been pushing more on that one. You know, it's a lot cheaper for that property owner to invest the $420-ish into that meter than $2,500 to put in another curb stop, or the aggravation of putting it into their own name. And a lot of the tenants, the landlords, they don't want them in their name because they want those inspections. See, if you put it in their name, then they don't have to do an inspection anymore. That's one of the downfalls
Well,
of
they
having
do.
that.
They just don't.
They don't, well, that's what I mean, yeah, they're supposed to, but because it's not, that trigger hasn't happened.
There's no trigger.
There's no trigger, so that they don't get it inspected, you know, I mean, so.
Yeah, again, I'm looking for time and money
Time,
savings. And time, spend your money, spend your time
Wisely,
elsewhere.
yep. Then we can do that, but like I said, the ones that are on there all the time, they're not really our problem, because it's so easy to get them on and off. I mean, it's just, you just show up there and you turn it off, so, it's
Said we're
the
doing
ones
how
that,
many a month, give or take?
roughly about 80, yeah. And it's not the same 80, don't get me wrong there, it's not the same. We maybe have, carry what, maybe 10 maybe, that are the same ones, roughly? Yeah, something like that, so it's not, it's not like, it's the same 80, it floats, that number floats, so it's those same 80, the same ones that are on there that we know are multi-units that only have one curb stop, that, you know, we try to focus on, hey, we got this, there's your three options, you gotta do something, which one do you wanna do? I'd say probably at least half of them, just put it in their name. And the other ones, the bill gets paid. I'm not sure how it gets paid, but the bill gets paid, so it becomes a non-problem at that time, and we move on to something else, so it's.
The joy of property.
John, real quick to answer your question, I think you'd like to know how many people are on the payment plan? Is that correct? Like what it
Just,
went from,
just
because we
check
were
and
running,
see if it's still
Yeah.
going and new people come in with it.
I'll check on that. We only had I think it was only like one or two, the way it was scheduled last time, like, it just didn't make any sense. But since we revamped it, I'll get you that number.
Yeah.
I could send that to everybody. I'll have to give finance on that.
I mean, it's an ongoing issue, but I do agree with what Brad's saying. I mean, it's, you don't pay your bill, we turn it off, you come in, you pay your bill, you pay the fee, we go back and turn it on. It's like for crying out loud. But we're not in the business for counseling services, so I don't know how you fix that part, but, anything we can do easier on our side, and we are trying to work with them, so that's another thing, I guess, for the ones that we are shutting off, do we constantly, offer that payment plan so they know what they can do and things of that sort? I mean,
Yeah, that's supposed to be offered at time of payment here at City Hall, at the counter. They're supposed to be given that offer to get into those arrangements. What we're finding, I'm seeing it, you can look at the charge card, the credit card fees in the budget. That continues to increase. A lot of people are just throwing it on a credit card. They get shut off, and we'll get a call, well, these people paid. Well, how'd they pay? On a credit card. So then we deal with it, they pay the on-off fee, and some people don't, so we rebill them for the on-off fee, and we don't turn it on until they pay it. But, so that's one thing, since we opened that up well, it's been going on now for a couple of
If they throw it
years.
on their credit card, do we charge a 3 or 4%?
No, we don't.
No.
We absorb that.
Chose not to.
Yep.
That was a decision made with admin, all of us, we chose not
Yeah.
to charge that 2-3%.
Yeah.
yeah.
With the increase of the $50 fee and.
Yeah,
all.
and I think a lot of the point was that we're getting our payment, you know, so.
Yep.
You know, I'm.
2
I
or
don't-
3% was.
Because this has been going on for, well, geez, probably what, 4 years now, I guess, the credit card?
Yeah,
something like
it's a
that?
new code. I don't think it's been that. Yeah,
Anyway,
I don't remember.
anyway, it's been going on for a while, but, you know, so that we see that too, so, like I said,
We get the payment, but we give them a discount because we pay the 3 or
because we
4%.
pay yes.
We absorb that.
So in turn, they pay a cheaper water rate.
In turn, I guess that's a way to say
You
it.
could say,
And they're offline to Hawaii on their American Airlines
I don't
credit
know.
card.
who knows?
I guess I could look to see.
But
what
anyway,
3%
but the delinquent accounts have gotten a lot
Water
better.
just-
Let's put it that way. A lot better, so.
That was
Anything else
discussed.
while you're at the mic?
Nope, I just here to help. Sorry I was late.
Okay. Anything else for the good of the city?
I think that's about it for now. Anything comes up now, we'll talk about it next month.
Well, that's a good idea. Oh, speaking of next month, or what, we were talking about.
Oh, yes.
You're gonna be gone for,
3.
3 months?
I may be here in February, possibly, but right now I'm scheduled to miss 3,
Miss 3,
right?
and,
And you're going to put Steve on?
we talked about that, and, Kevin looked into it, so we can do it right here, make the recommendation that we bring Steve over as a voting, a board member, while Steve is basically on a leave of absence.
Sabbatical.
A sabbatical, yeah. So, I guess we should get that in the record. I'll make that proposal that I'd like to bring Steve Struberg over as a voting member of the board in Steve Richardson's absence, for the next 2 or 3 months.
Second. Is that a motion?
That's a motion.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so we got that in the minutes.
There you go. It's only
And,
for, only in case something major happens and we have to have a quorum. So,
Well, and we can
You're still here, you don't get to walk out that.
you still got the ability to keep track of things in email, don't you, when you're
Yeah,
gone?
she's going to just send it to me.
Yeah, so if there's anything major, we can still get your input on that, so, good. Next meeting is scheduled for when? Oh, January 24th. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Meeting adjourned.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Yeah, the bill paying, and, you know, like the credit card, it's like, okay, if I give you a check,
You have the ability,
somebody's gotta handle the check.
People
Somebody
have,
gotta get it, you know, all that.
some kind of,
I put it on a credit
check clear or
card.
something that they can get
I
a
don't know
text
what we
message right
pay,
away.
a couple bucks, I guess.
Yeah, it's percentage-wise, it's a percentage, like 2 point
So it just goes,
something percent.
thank you.
In other words, if
It's
something
you know,
happens in my bank account, do I get it?
Yeah, all of a sudden you do a debit or something like that at a store, then it automatically you get a text that says there's been a, activity on your account.